A young farmer boy falls in love with a mysterious girl, unlike anyone else. People are willing to give up everything just for a moment with her. Those who are fortunate enough to be in her presence feel as though they've won the greatest prize. One day, the farmer boy brings her to his home, setting off a series of surprising events that unfold in today's tale. In 1850, in the small town of Rockies, California, we meet Angel, a beautiful girl in high demand. People enter a lottery for a chance to spend a night with her, believing they've won a great prize if selected. Angel appears helpless and burdened by her situation. She reflects on her past life with her mother, Na, recalling the happiness they shared before things changed. The story begins to unfold, introducing us to the complexities of Angel's life. One day, her father, Alex, came to meet her for the very first time. But when Alex arrived, he didn't even acknowledge Angel properly. He barely looked at her and asked her to leave the room immediately. Confused and hurt, she stepped outside. Inside, Alex spoke coldly to Na, "You live in my house, but I have never married you, nor will I ever marry you. I told you from the beginning that I didn't want this child. She's illegitimate, and a constant reminder of everything I didn't want in life." Angel stood just outside the door, hearing every word. Her father's cruel remarks cut through her heart like a sharp blade. Overcome with emotion, she broke down in tears. Na rushed out to comfort her, holding her tightly and whispering, "None of this is your fault, my dear. I love you more than anything in this world." Days later, Na received a letter from Alex, coldly informing her that he had severed all ties, sold their house, and would never see them again. Devastated, Na had no choice but to pack their things and leave. With nowhere else to turn, she and Angel embarked on a new chapter, leaving behind everything they had known. Desperate to survive, Na went to a jeweler named John to sell her jewelry. But John examined the jewelry and revealed that it was fake and had no value. However, he added, "You are very precious yourself. If you work for me, you can earn money and have a place to live." Na found herself trapped in a desperate situation and, unwillingly, gave in to John's demands. He took advantage of her, exploiting her both physically and emotionally, forcing her to work endlessly to earn money for him. Over time, her health deteriorated, and she eventually passed away. Angel, heartbroken by the loss of her mother, was consumed by grief. Despite her sorrow, she felt powerless to change the cruel reality she was trapped in, facing a harsh world alone and abandoned. Now, the story shifts to the present, where we meet Michael, a hard-working farmer. Michael is a sensible, religious young man who manages his fields on his own. He prays daily at church, and one day he prays for a life partner, someone who will truly love him and stay by his side forever. That evening, Michael goes to the city to sell his goods. While there, he catches a glimpse of Angel as she steps out for a stroll. He is mesmerized by her beauty and falls for her at first sight. Curious, Michael asks his friend about Angel, and the friend tells him, Angel lives in a palace in the city. She's the most beautiful and expensive girl here. People line up just for a chance to spend the night with her. Michael feels uneasy upon hearing this but decides to meet Angel, no matter what her past may be. Later that evening, after her shift ends, a bodyguard employed by her boss, Duchess, arrives to collect her earnings. He's dissatisfied with the amount and accuses Angel of hiding more gold. Angered by the accusation, Angel reacts violently, striking him. The bodyguard, even more enraged, drags her toward a nearby bathtub and attempts to drown her by pushing her under the water. Just when things are about to escalate, Duchess intervenes, her voice cold and commanding. She orders the bodyguard to stop, warning him, if Angel even gets a scratch, those waiting outside won't show you mercy. Control your temper and get her ready for the next shift immediately. The tension in the room fades slightly as the bodyguard grudgingly releases Angel, understanding the weight of Duchess's words. A short while later, Angel gets dressed again and resumes her work. This time, Michael arrives to meet her. Angel looks at him and asks, "How can I make you happy?" Michael replies, "I didn't come here for that. I just want to talk to you. I'm not like the others. I'm a farmer, and I work on my farm. Then Michael proposes marriage to Angel. But Angel laughs after hearing this and says, "This is the 5th proposal of this week. Many people like you come here and talk sweetly to me." Michael's time ends, and Angel throws him out of the room. The next day, Michael returns to see Angel, offering double the money. He tells her, "I fell in love with you at first sight. I want you to come with me. We'll get married and live together forever." Angel dismisses his words, replying, "You're wasting both your money and time. Come, finish your work, and leave. I can never be yours forever." Once again, Michael's time runs out, and the same bodyguard escorts him out. Later, Michael's friend advises him, saying, "Angel isn't right for you," but Michael insists, "I want to try once more." That evening, he goes back to meet Angel again. This time, Michael calmly tries to reason with Angel. He says, "I don't understand why you want to live this kind of hellish life. Don't you feel anything for me? Is there no feeling in your heart?" Then Michael lovingly kisses her and asks, "Do you still not feel my love?" Angel replies coldly, "I don't love you, nor do I want to marry you. You're just an ordinary farmer and nothing else." Michael feels heartbroken and leaves quietly. The story flashes back to Angel's childhood after her mother's death. The jeweler takes her to a new city, planning to sell her. Once there, a woman named Sally, who works in the area, begs the jeweler to take Angel somewhere else, saying, "This is no place for a child." The jeweler ignores her plea and instead leads Angel to the boss's room. Soon after, Duke, the boss, arrives. The jeweler tells him, "Take the girl and give me my money." But instead of a transaction, Duke orders his men to kill the jeweler. Angel watches in horror, but Duke reassures her, saying, "From now on, you'll work for me." This moment marks the beginning of Angel's control under Duke, who uses fear to ensure her compliance and keep her in his grasp. As the years passed, Angel grew up, and Duke forced her into a life of exploitation and abuse, trapping her in this terrible world. Angel had lost all her fear by now and firmly believed that all men were the same. But despite her resolve, she was trapped in her circumstances. One day, Alex arrived at the place she worked, not knowing that Angel was his own daughter. When Alex took her to a room, Angel revealed the truth to him. Shocked and overcome with guilt for ruining his daughter's life, Alex blamed himself and ended his life by shooting himself. Sally, a friend of Angel's, helped her escape by giving her money. When Duke found out, he was furious and had Sally killed. Angel then boarded a ship to leave the city. On board, she met other girls, but they betrayed her, beating her unconscious, stealing her money, and abandoning her. A woman named Duchess found Angel and rescued her. However, instead of offering freedom, Duchess took Angel to her palace, forcing her into the same cruel and exploitative life she had tried to escape. The story returns to the present, where Angel's health is failing. When her friend asks what's wrong, Angel admits she's been thinking about Michael so much that it's made her weak. She decides she wants to leave this life behind. She had saved all her money with Duchess, so she went to her to ask for it. Duchess, however, questions her, "What will you do after leaving here? I provide you with food, clothes, and a place to stay. What do you think you'll find out there?" But Angel, determined, demands her money. Duchess becomes angry and says, "I won't give you anything." Angel also loses her temper and starts yelling at Duchess. Enraged, Duchess calls her men and orders them to teach her a lesson. The men drag Angel away and beat her brutally. That night, Michael has a dream that something terrible is happening to Angel. The next morning, Michael goes to the palace and is horrified to see Angel in such a bad condition. Furious, he confronts Duchess and says, "I'm taking her away from here." Duchess replies, "She owes me a debt, and she cannot leave without paying it." Michael offers her 3 times the amount of Angel's debt, which Duchess accepts. Michael then gives Angel his mother's ring and asks, "Will you marry me?" Overwhelmed, Angel says yes. Michael takes her back to his farm. Angel's condition is critical due to the injuries. She tells Michael, "You spent so much money on me." Michael responds, "Don't worry about that. I just needed to get you out of that place." Angel returns the ring, saying, "Once I recover, I'll pay back your debt and leave. I won't marry you. I won't live as someone's possession." Michael smiles and responds, "Marriage isn't about possession." He gives her some clothes, and she asks, "Are these your wife's clothes?" Michael answers, "No, they belong to my sister, who passed away a year ago. Now Paul, her husband, and I live here, but Paul is away in another town." As Angel tries to stand, she collapses, and Michael cares for her day and night. 3 weeks pass, and Angel slowly recovers. One night, when Michael checks on her, Angel calls him closer. She tells him, "It's time for me to repay your debt. You can do whatever you want with me." Michael refuses and says, "I didn't save you for this. I want you to feel the same love for me that I feel for you. Until that happens, I won't come close to you." He tells her that God will guide their hearts when the time is right. They continue talking, and Angel shares her past. "When I was a child, my mother prayed to God a lot, but she still lived a life of hell. That's why I don't believe in God." The next morning, while Michael works on the farm, Angel approaches him and says, "I can't handle the responsibilities of being your wife, but I can help with the farm work." Michael agrees, and he begins teaching her various tasks, like chopping wood, raising chickens, and catching fish. Over time, Angel starts enjoying the work and finds peace in it. One night, Michael wakes Angel and says, "Come with me. We need to go somewhere." Angel, confused, asks, "It's almost morning. Where are we going?" Michael leads her to a hill and shows her a beautiful sunrise. "I want to give you a life as beautiful and colorful as these first rays of the sun," he says. Angel responds, "If you knew even half of my life's truth, you'd hate me." Michael replies that life wasn't your choice, but now you can choose the life you want. Angel then asks, "You see me as your wife, but you still don't come close to me. Why?" Michael explains, "I was waiting for the day when you'd feel the same way about me as I do about you." They kiss for the first time, and after returning home, Michael becomes intimate with Angel for the first time. They share a beautiful and loving moment together. Their peaceful life is disrupted by the arrival of Paul, an old friend of Michael's. Paul, the widower of Tess, Michael's sister who passed away a year ago, shows up unannounced. Michael welcomes him warmly and introduces him to his wife, Angel. Paul is shocked to see Angel, as he had previously encountered her at a brothel. While Michael is busy in the barn, Paul, still harboring resentment over his sister's death, takes the chance to speak to Angel. He tells her she is unworthy of a good man like Michael. After the incident with Paul, Angel feels overwhelmed and confides in Michael. She expresses her doubts about whether she deserves Michael's love. However, Michael assures Angel that he doesn't care about her past, he loves her just the way she is, with all her flaws and history, and he hopes they can have children together. But the shadow of unworthiness still lingers over Angel. She asks Paul to take her back to the city. Paul agrees, but during the journey, he demands payment from Angel in return for his services. Angel, trapped in a difficult situation, is forced to sell herself again. When she arrives in the city, she faces a harsh reality. The brothel where she once worked has burned down, claiming 2 of her friends. A man offers her a job at his brothel, which only deepens her sense of despair. Angel feels trapped, convinced that she is destined to remain a companion forever, believing she is unworthy of love or happiness. The weight of her past makes it impossible for her to imagine a different, brighter future. Meanwhile, Michael inquires with Paul about his wife's whereabouts, his heart filled with worry. Upon hearing news of the troubles at the brothel, Michael, without hesitation, rushes to the city. Breaking into the brothel, he finally finds Angel and brings her back home. Throughout the journey back, Angel is overcome with confusion. She can't comprehend why Michael still wants her despite her dark past. However, Michael reassures her with genuine love. He declares that Angel's past will not stop him from loving her fully. From that moment, their lives improve. One day, a family's carriage breaks down near Michael's house. Without hesitation, Michael offers them shelter while their carriage is repaired. Angel, now more kind-hearted, prepares food and drinks for the family. A husband, his pregnant wife, and 2 beautiful daughters. Miriam, one of the daughters, is struck by Angel's honesty and kindness. She sees how Angel has embraced her past, and it deeply inspires her. Miriam is moved by the strength Angel shows, feeling a strong connection with her. From that moment on, a close friendship blossoms between the 2 families. As time goes by, the wife from the family gives birth to a healthy baby boy. In gratitude towards Michael and Angel for their kindness, the couple decides to name their baby Michael. Angel and Michael feel deeply touched and honored by this gesture. The next day, while working on the farm, Angel confides in Michael that she cannot have children because of the brothel owner's actions. Michael reassures her that nothing is impossible and urges her not to lose hope. Later that evening, Angel returns to the city, but not to stay. She leaves behind a ring and a note, which Miriam finds. In the note, Angel asks Miriam to marry Michael, believing he deserves happiness with her. Though her heart is broken, Angel chooses to sacrifice her own love for Michael's future, knowing that Miriam will give him the life he deserves. While Angel applies for a job as a waitress at a restaurant, her co-worker, Duke, catches sight of her and cruelly sets fire to the establishment. He swiftly finds Angel and brings her back to the brothel. Angel feels weakened, her heart shattered. She never expected Duke to do such a thing to her. Inside the brothel, Angel notices a young girl sitting in a corner of the room. The girl stares at her with vacant eyes, her face pale, and her body emaciated. Angel feels as if she's seeing her past self. She recalls being sold into this brothel as a young child, forced to serve heartless men. Touched by the sight of the young girl being abused by Duke, Angel steps forward and exposes Duke's crimes in front of everyone. Enraged, Duke tries to silence Angel. However, a man from the crowd, moved by Angel's bravery, intervenes and saves her. Together, Angel, the young girl she rescued, and another woman from the brothel make their escape. Meanwhile, Duke faces the consequences of his actions as he is confronted and judged by the community. Paul and Angel reunite after 3 years. Angel works as a cook at a school in San Francisco, and Paul apologizes for the harm he caused her. She forgives him. During their conversation, Paul reveals that he married Miriam, not Michael. Surprisingly, Michael has always loved Angel and has been waiting for her. Angel is shocked by this confession and finds it hard to believe anyone could love her so deeply. Though she initially rejects the idea of returning to Michael, believing she's unworthy of his love, memories of their happy times together make her realize her feelings have never faded. She decides to pursue her love for him. Paul gives her the address for the horse carriage that departs for the village at 4:00 p.m. Angel arrives, determined to chase her love. Finally, Angel meets Michael and apologizes for the pain she has caused. She expresses her love for him for the first time and reveals her true name, Sarah. They reconcile and reunite, embarking on a new life filled with happiness together. Several years later, they are seen fishing with their son while Angel is pregnant with their second child. Their story concludes with eternal happiness and love.